Welcome to the Parkland Report. I'm Stephanie Stewart, Vice President for Strategic Partnerships and Workforce Innovation at Parkland College, and I'm also your host for this show where we talk to the people making things happen here at Parkland. Today's show is extra special because it's our annual episode with the president of the college, and so we're pleased to be joined with Dr. Pam Lau, president of Parkland College. Welcome.
Thank you, and it's a privilege to be here.
Well, I think this may be our second one of these episodes with you in your role as president.
I believe so, yes.
And how are things going? So you're a little over a year into the role. I know that we had a transition period, which we talked about in some of our previous interviews, but what has the first year been like for you?
It's been quite an exciting year, tremendous in very many ways, because as you know, it's a privilege to lead Parkland College. It is a premier community college, and we have wonderful faculty who are so innovative. We have such supportive staff and infrastructure, and I really enjoy working with the leaders of the college. So it's been a really good year, and it's been a year that we've been able to see our enrollments increase in comparison to the year before. So we get the sense, right, that during the pandemic, many students sort of put education on hold to see what's happening, and we're beginning to see the students coming back. So it's been an exciting time to see pluses in enrollment, to see new programs being rolled out, to see different initiatives there to make sure that our students are on par for their career pathways, as well as being supported in new and different ways. So it's been a very good year.
That's wonderful. Yeah, definitely a positive trajectory. Some of our viewers and some of our students or employees may wonder, what does the day in the life of a president of a community college look like? So how do you spend your days, and what are the types of things that you're actively engaged with?
Well, that's actually a very difficult question to answer, because no day is like the other day. But if I can use an analogy. If you think of an orchestra and you have an orchestra leader, and there are different parts of the orchestra, right? You have your wind instruments, and you have your string instruments, and you have your percussion, and you weave it all together. And in many ways, my work as a president is to be like an orchestra leader. I'm not actually playing any of the specific instruments. However, I am overseeing very many different areas of the college. We have good leadership. I have the vice presidents, and they have their deans and department chairs and program directors and coordinators, and they actually are making the music. I just make sure that all of it is coordinated so that as a college we're singing from the same sheet of music: student success, opening pathways for students, opening education opportunities.
That's great. Another part of the job that I've been able to work with you a little bit on is the community engagement pieces of that, and just being out in the community and visiting different groups. So can you describe a little bit about what that's been like for you, and maybe some places you've been this year that you would otherwise not have been engaged with?
Well, last year I had many opportunities to go meet people for the first time. Many people were very interested. Who's the new president of Parkland College? So besides, I sit on different committees and boards, but some of the things that I've really enjoyed is going out, for example, to speak at Rotary clubs, where I've been able to actually share about what Parkland is. I've been to Social Science Club to talk about what we do, and it's always very surprising. Many people in the community know about Parkland. So many people are so appreciative of what we do, because everybody will come and tell me, I had a niece come, my granddaughter came, my uncle came. And so many people have family and friends that have benefited. But actually, when I talk to them about the different things that are going on in Parkland, the new programs that we are focusing on, everyone is excited because they'll say, I did not know that those things were going on at Parkland. And so it's been my privilege to be able to go out and spread the message and spread the excitement of what we do here at Parkland and talk to people on the outside.
That's great. And we do work with several different community partners, just from all of our different District 505 communities. So can you talk a little bit about just what those engagements are like with other community leaders and municipal leaders and things like that?
Well, one of the things we've done is to reach out to, let's say, our local school districts, right? So we've had a lot of conversations with Unit 4 as to how students are here going through our local school districts, and we've been trying to see how we can actually better structure opportunities so that we can help students know what comes after high school, and that we can provide different opportunities for them. I also get to go out to speak to, I've been on several different committees here and there where we're looking at different opportunities. So for example, I'm on the university's Campus Compact Advisory Council, where we're actually talking about how higher ed can connect with the community so that we can meet the needs of those around that. We have learning that goes on, we have different programs, and sometimes the connections are not there, and to be able to kind of weave those things together, so that's been really good too.
That's wonderful. And there's also a lot of attention on community colleges at the national level. Yes. So I know that you had a recent engagement, but before we talk a little bit more about that in detail, can you share a little bit about what's the national conversation like on community colleges? Because there's certainly some excitement and energy from legislators.
So there's a lot of talk about how community colleges are the deliverer of education and training. And so as our national leaders are looking at the economy as a whole and society as a whole, we realize that for us to continue as a very strong economic power in the world, that we actually need a lot of people trained for that next level of work that comes with growth in technology, growth in different industries. And so community colleges uniquely positioned so that our programs need to connect with what our industry needs, what our business needs, to make sure that what we are teaching is relevant to what's needed out there. And so we are like the in-between. People who need skills, they come to us and we connect them with jobs that are out there. And so the national conversation has a lot to do with how can we ensure that community colleges continue to be that vibrant deliverer of education and training, and in ways that are relevant to the new technologies that are coming out. For example, whether we're talking about agriculture and the newest technologies to help farming, whether we're talking about manufacturing and all the digital revolutions of how things are being made, and whether we are preparing the students there, and then on construction, how we can actually make sure that people understand the jobs that are out there and the big range of jobs, right? So in each one of those things, we talk about bioprocessing and all of that, and how do we position ourselves so that we are there, we are relevant, and we can help to supply skilled workers, but also to help our students understand the range of options that are there when it comes to what do I do after high school so that I can position myself in a way not only to get a job that is meaningful, there's a career there, and then to know that that is a pathway to what we call life-sustaining wages. You can live on it, you can raise a family and feel secure. And so that's our special niche to do that.
Yeah, some of the conversations that we've had are really about the differentiated mission of community colleges in the landscape of higher education. So there is the university, and that is a goal of so many of our students, but to help people understand this more workforce aspect of the mission, as you mentioned.
Right. Yes, and not to, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because a lot of our students come to us and they really want to go on to a four-year university, and so our traditional mission as a community college still remains a very primary and big part of what we do, to provide the first 2 years of the baccalaureate degree. Many people are familiar with the phrase general education. There's a structure to general education, so many hours of this in this discipline, so many hours in that particular discipline to make together that package. And community colleges in Illinois are very well prepared to ensure that our students can complete the general education requirements. We've got a fancy name for that. We call it lower division gen ed requirements, right? That we do that in a perfect way so that our students are ready to transfer to four-year schools.
Yes. Yeah, I think understanding that value that community colleges can bring for both the transfer and the workforce mission.
Right.
So let's talk about the White House.
Okay.
If that's okay with you.
Sure thing.
Tell us about how that came about and kind of what the conversation was, and maybe what you learned in the process of visiting.
So on February the 4th, actually, I went to Washington, D.C. with 3 of our trustees and our student trustee and 2 vice presidents, and you were one of them, right? We went as a team because that's part of the trustees' National Legislative Summit. This is a national annual gathering of trustees and leadership from all the community colleges around the country. And we go to Washington, D.C., and we talk about our legislative priorities, and then we actually go to our elected officials to advocate for what we think will be important for the well-being of community colleges. So in that context, the White House, the Executive Office of the President, they knew that we were coming, and so they decided that this would be an opportune time to actually have a listening session and to be able to talk to presidents and provosts from different colleges to discuss what we are doing to provide the nation with a diverse and skilled workforce. So I got an invitation the week before we went to say, you are invited to the White House for this listening session. So it came out of the blue in that sense. But I was very happy to be able to represent Parkland. 3 presidents of community colleges from Illinois were part of the group. There were about 35 of us. And so when we went there, basically we were divided into 4 conversation tables. And so they had a series of questions, and we sat around the table, and we really just had a conversation about what are some of the innovative things we're doing in our colleges to meet the needs of industry and business and workforce. But we were also asked to talk about what are some of the challenges we face in being able to do this. And so it was a very lively conversation. The people that were facilitating those conversations took a lot of notes, and they said that this was going to be helpful for them because at the national level, what they are very interested in is what policies that they are going to put together to be able to support us. So even as national leaders are calling upon community colleges to be able to deliver the workforce that they want, they also want to be supportive. So it's not just a demand that you guys do, but what is it that you need from us, from the political leaders, in order to provide the resources and the processes and procedures that can actually support us doing that work.
Well, what an amazing opportunity.
Yes, it was, right.
We'll go ahead and take a break, and when we return, we'll talk more with President Lau about her campus-level priorities. I decided to partake in FYE because I knew that it was going to help me not only prepare for college in my future years, but also life in general.
I came into the class not knowing anything, and Parkland was just my next step, but I didn't know what else, okay, what after? And so she didn't only focus on at Parkland, but she focused on after Parkland, and that's exactly what I needed. We learned a multitude of stuff, including how to manage a budget in college, because I have a problem with impulse control with my budgeting, but that's okay. Every college student does at one point. We also learned how to adapt our personalities with each other, such as if one person's one personality type and you're another one, you could figure out how your guys' personalities could interact, or the differences you might face, or the obstacles you might face with your personalities. We took this personality test, the 16 personalities, and just understanding how I work helped me understand how I interact and what my strengths are, because I always think back on, if I'm confused about maybe how to interact with something or how to go about something. For example, I'm an advocate, and so I move and operate out of that space. It just helps clarify different things, definitely. A big lesson that I've learned from the professor, because she's very nice, she always recommended no matter what somebody's going through, you always help somebody. And so, for example, my psychology class, we could be talking about a potentially sensitive topic and somebody could get upset by it. With my skills that I've learned from FYE, I could apply those and be there for that person and talk with them about how that experience, doesn't necessarily define them. I think it helped give structure. I still have my educational plan, my academic plan that we went through, and I can look back on that and say, oh, these are the goals, and sort of see that I have been making progress, you know, just with my life goals, with my professional goals.
I would recommend it because not only is the whole classroom a very positive environment, but also it leaves you wanting to take that class more and more. I'm in my second semester, and unfortunately I cannot take the FYE class again, but if I had to be honest, I wish I could take it again.
I'd say I feel like it should be required. Like, I think that, like, with the personality test, you're learning things about yourself. So she has like resources days where you're learning about financial aid or academic advising, and if you don't know about those things, you can't really take advantage of them, especially with all the learning commons things, resources that she really informs you about, because I think I would have been really lost without it. Like, it just gave me a better understanding of Parkland and how it works and what's available.
Welcome back to part 2 of our interview with Dr. Lau, president of Parkland College. So Dr. Lau, one of the first things that you were really charged with and that you took on as president of the college is a new strategic plan, which is a pretty ambitious undertaking. Took quite a while to develop and then also to implement. But can you share for our viewers, what is the strategic plan of Parkland College and how does it guide our work? Why is it important?
So yes, it was that. So in one sense, it's true, right? It's a big thing to create a strategic plan, but it was time. Our old strategic plan was just ending at the time when Dr. Ramage retired, so it was time for me to do a new one. But I found that it also gave me an opportunity to really talk to people across the college, talk about what's important to us. And we all know that our mission is to engage the community in learning, but that's nice. It's a good saying, right? But what are the main sort of directions that we want to take the college in? So through a lot of different discussions, we came out with a strategic plan that has 5 components to it. And let me see if I remember them, right?
It's the pop quiz portion of the interview.
So the first strategic goal is that we want to empower students, right? Students come to us from all over, but we want to empower them to succeed. Then the second thing was to create an environment that we can continually enhance teaching and learning. After all, we are an academic institution. And so the most important thing is that the teaching and the learning aspect of our mission we continue to do. The third part was to actually begin to think not only of our students and how we do our teaching and learning, but to recognize that we're a community college. We are the community's college, right? So that the third strategic goal is that we want to enrich the community. That we are here, but if we do our stuff, but nobody else knows what we're doing, right? Our job is only half done, right? We need to be able to interact with the community that we say we are the college for, so enriching the community. And then recognizing that as a community college, we are only as good as the people that work at Parkland in serving the community, in serving our students. So the fourth strategic goal is that we want to invest in our employees, that we want to make this an environment not only where people have jobs and they get paid, but really that people get that whole sense of they're buying into the mission and together we are going to work to serve the community. And then the last one is, and this is part of that responsibility, that public trust, we need to sustain ourselves for the future, right? Whatever decisions we make, and this is sort of a basic budget thing, right? You can't spend all your money now. How do you make sure that you have resources to continue not only the financial viability of the institution, but that we can continue to do our mission of engaging the community in learning? So we did the strategic plan.
But you have a little bit of a different model for translating that into actionable steps.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
So alongside the strategic plan, I challenge the vice presidents as they work with all of their divisions is, what are we going to do to ensure that these beautiful words on paper, that we can actually focus our energies on doing what I would call priority initiatives, that will signal to ourselves and to the community that this is what these are the initiatives that will help us make some advances in fulfilling the strategic plan. So we have several initiatives, and let's see if I remember all of them, right? The first one has to do with the fact that if we are going to empower our students, many times we find that students come to us and they don't understand the different options there are in post-secondary. A lot of people say, I finished high school, I've got to go to college. Well, what do you do when you go to college? And many students come to us not even knowing what are the choices that are available. So the first strategic priority is to actually develop a plan so that we can actually grow awareness of those options, not only when the students finish high school, but actually to go further back into middle school and the beginning of high school, that those options will be there. So that's that first one. Then the second initiative, again, it has to be teaching and learning. And we are very, very conscious that as a community college, we draw students from a broad spectrum of the population. Some of our students are older students, some are recent high school students. We draw from all demographic groups. We have students that are very well prepared for post-secondary and some who are not very well prepared for post-secondary. So the second priority initiative is to actually specifically talk about how we build inclusive environments for learning. Then the third one has to do with increasing our connection with the community. We want to enrich the community. How do we reach out to different pockets of the community, and specifically thinking about areas of the community that sort of know there's a Parkland College on 24 West Bradley Avenue, but actually don't see that we are relevant to them, or that there can be a space in their lives and lifestyles to incorporate taking something from Parkland. Because we believe that what we have can actually dramatically make lives better for the people in the community. So to be able to do that outreach. And then the fourth one is what we call a RISE initiative. And really thinking in terms of how we can reach out to our public school districts to think in terms of particularly their juniors and seniors, how we can prepare students. And there are students who are already college bound, they're college ready. And then we have a whole middle section of students that are sort of, okay, I'm going to finish high school, I'm not very sure what I'm going to do next. So the RISE initiative is to be able to take those rising graduates and actually help them come to Parkland, and that while they are with us, we successfully prepare them either for transfer or to go out into the career world. And then the last priority initiative is actually, again, looking at our own employees and really restructuring and enriching the professional development opportunities we have on campus for them.
It's been a busy year.
Yes, it has. It's been exciting.
Yes, and from this vantage point, it's been very exciting to see the progress made on each of those throughout the year, and then obviously as we look to next academic year, that will continue to grow. And so, in my perspective, it's been a great structure to get us to work on the strategic plan and really making progress on those goals that we've laid out as priorities, but then taking those steps to implementation and moving beyond what we've been able to do previously.
Yes.
And so one other priority of yours, and something that you've been working on since you were executive vice president, has really been having conversations around diversity, equity, and inclusion on campus. And you have a group on campus that is advisory to you. So can you share with our viewers what that group does and the types of discussions that are happening?
So we meet once a month, and we've been actually looking at data. And data, not just because we like numbers, and I'm no mathematician, but I know that numbers are important. And we're using data actually to look at not only the numbers of students coming to Parkland, but actually to be able to plot how well students are doing. Whether it's at the course level, whether students are staying with us from semester to semester and staying in program, and whether they graduate. So that advisory council looks with me at those the data that we have before us. And at the moment, we're actually crafting what is called an equity plan, which helps us look at the data that we have now and looking at which pockets of students are doing well and which pockets of students are not doing so well. And then looking at what we are actually doing in terms of all of our support services and how we are doing the teaching in the classroom, and actually looking for ways to address some of those areas of what I would say weaknesses so that we can actually ensure that our students succeed. So going back to that first strategic goal, we want to empower the students. At Parkland, we want to say, we are open access. Come on, come on, we love everyone, come to us. But coming to us is only the first part. We want to make sure that students are actually making progress towards their academic aspirations. And so part of that equity plan is to actually look at how well we are actually helping the students, not only coming to us, but actually making progress towards their academic goals.
That's great. And it's been great to see the conversations at that table, but then also some of the action taken as a result of the group coming together. What are some other things over time? So the equity plan is the current. What are some other things that the group has tackled over time? I know search processes was one.
Yes, that's right. Yes, and I'm glad you reminded me of that one. So that we've actually done a lot of work to change or to introduce new ways of doing our search committees so that we are able to not only welcome a broader group of applicants for job openings that we have here at Parkland, but actually to be able to include a wider range of those applicants for interviews so that we are actually able to bring in, the goal is that we bring in a more diverse group of people who want to serve with us, to teach students and to help them succeed.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Lau, any final thoughts for our viewers before we conclude?
Well, I always want to say that Parkland has a place for everyone, and that we continue to be the community's college. And I would encourage anyone who is thinking of whether getting additional skills just for the fun of learning or wanting to find out from us what are opportunities if they want to make a career change in their lives. Think of Parkland. Parkland is here to help you.
Great. Well, that's it for today's episode of the Parkland Report. We really appreciate the time you've spent with us to learn about what's happening at Parkland College from Dr. Lau, our president, and as she leads us into the future. So thank you again.
Thank you, Stephanie.
And we'll see you next time.